Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your basketball betting this season. Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds, team matchups, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline is your basketball headquarters this season. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, we did the unthinkable. I think everyone on the show had Sixers losing game one, and actually winning game two. So now I'm curious to see how the game predictions are going to change when we get to the end of the show today. But wow, what a game! What was your guys' initial reactions to last night?
Can't say I'm surprised because this is what we do. It's what we've done this season. Obviously, James, playing well. I think something is, from what I read, a little underrated play was Melton's first half. Especially some big shots where they made runs or when they had their lead. I thought that was really huge. But just the overall, competitive nature. PJ didn't score, couldn't come off the court. I don't even know if he even took a shot. I don't even know if he took it, but he took a shot.
I think first player in modern history to not attempt a free throw or a shot and play above 35 minutes in a game.
But had a huge impact on the game. So I think it was James did what he did, but I still think it was a really, really big team win. I really do. I mean, you have a guy like Paul Reed just stepping in conference semifinals that we haven't won in a long time, and now all of a sudden he's starting with Joe out, and he held his own. I mean, he did well. I mean, we had some good plays and team stepped up and you accomplished something that we all know had to happen in order for you to move to the next round is win a road game. So you have accomplished that.
This team has been so good with undermanned starting fives all season. Doc's just been really, really good at that. I think Doc's best coaching comes when he's down somebody or down multiple people. And we touched upon this last episode. I really think this team benefited from just coming off a game without Joel. So it was a pretty seamless next game. They didn't have to not relearn how to play without him, but just get used to that again. Whereas I think Horford touched upon how they didn't prepare correctly for the game without Embiid. I don't know what that meant as far as how they game planned or just the mentality overall. But
that's a shot at coaching right there.
It is. Yeah. But I mean, hell of a job. Reed's continuing to make a lot of money in the offseason with the way he's playing, and he deserves every penny, man. He's been so good.
You saying somebody deserves money?
Yeah. I don't know what's with us, depending on how much you want. But
it depends on what he get, though.
You'll
cap him now.
I like to have I like a little discount for us.
Yeah, you'll cap him now.
If he wants to become liquid, he could do that in some other city. But let's make a good living in Philly.
No, Josh Harris's agent over here, Eric.
Exactly.
He's been playing so well, though. I mean,
teach us how to keep people from making more money.
Well, I want to win, so there's that. Exactly. Whatever it takes, really. I mean, I don't think anyone. I mean, I was telling Marcus the other day that the saving grace of Paul Reed's contract is that big men in the NBA is becoming like the running back of the NBA. There's just so many big men. You got guys like Cousins who didn't ever get on the roster all season. It's crazy how much talent there is for bigs and just not enough spots, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, I think we played so good without him, and going forward, I mean, it's encouraging the way we play without him.
To dig in a little bit deeper about this game, one thing I saw, and you can just see it in the way we've played, pretty much throughout the season, when there's been so many games we've talked about on the show, or games that look like they were slipping away, but then we kind of rallied together, and the resilience factor. How much do you think this resilience factor, especially in the playoffs, is coming from having a guy like PJ Tucker on this roster, a guy like we haven't really had in a while on this team? And obviously, Embiid said we need to get a guy like that. We get a guy like that. And this year, no lead's too big enough for us to come back from regular season and in the playoffs. Did you see that that kind of being a thing, Eric, where PJ Tucker's kind of giving us?
Yeah, I mean, I think he brings toughness he brings it, but it's not that you kind of lack the toughness. I mean, you had a guy like Jimmy Butler a couple of years ago. I just think that he brings a style that was necessary. And people looked at it as just, you can look at it from the toughness. You can look at it from the defensive versatility.
Effort.
I think probably the biggest thing that he's contributed this year has been the offensive rebounds, and the 50-50 balls. Very, very crucial extra possessions. Then if he makes the corner three, that's just
add a bonus.
That's going from depending on a couple makes to bonuses when he does it. So I think that from that perspective of doing a lot of the things that, stats may not tell you how good it is, but laying that foundation and then being a guy that's, serviceable to make that corner shot, and then allowing the other guys that we know are offensive forces for their volume to go up. James when it's necessary. Maxey's volume is going up. Tobias when it's necessary. And Joel improving the 5 or 6 points or whatever he did from the previous season. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we put a guy like PJ in there with limited touches, limited volume, still very much effective in order to help us win, and it has helped the people around them as well.
Teja, what are your general thoughts on the PJ Tucker experience, playoff PJ?
Last year around this time, we were pulling our hair out about how Tucker was out rebounding our entire team except for Joel. He was killing us. That's where it's the whole we need a guy like that started. It was why don't some of our guys that are taller than him, it's just getting those rebounds. It's so nice to be on the receiving end of those rebounds. You just know he's going to go for all those loose balls and all those rebounds. And even if he doesn't get it, he impacts the game because there are at least one or maybe two opposing players that know they have to put a body on him. Which, if you have another guy who hustles, there's a reason why Paul Reed and him were snatching up rebounds yesterday. I think they combined for 20 or something or close to it. If you have another guy who's high energy on rebounds, that means you have two guys that you have to put bodies on all the time, all game, every game. I mean, that's where he expends his energy. So he's not going to just take those plays off. That is his play. When the guy's not shooting once in a game, that energy is putting somewhere. So it's going for every single ball out there. So that's one less guy for someone else to guard, one less guy for someone to body. I just think it rubs off on other players too. I think other guys see that and they also scramble and they go for every ball they can. Yeah. This is what he saved the energy up for. This is what, this is playoff PJ. I almost think it's playoff Harden too, in a way. This is what you said. I think most of last year when we got him was, we don't need him to be Houston Harden. We need him to do it, pick his moments and pick his spot to do it. Yes. And yesterday was time to clock in, man, punch that hole of that. You know what I mean? That's for both guys. So we need that. We need both guys to do that.
Yeah, I can't remember the word that I said, but that's what I mean. It's the games will happen where it's necessary.
Yeah.
More
moments.
Yeah, those moments are going to come. People think you need to maintain that. Oh, just you need to be there when it's necessary, when it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And he was. So now it's like, okay, we done got to win. So hopefully we get Joel back and win the series, Joel.
Yeah.
James, maintain your level of play.
Yep.
All of a sudden we needed possession or we need a fourth quarter, take off. Or we need a first quarter, take off. That's where I think he's at. And like I said, I've said that, but it was confirmed. And now we just got to keep growing and keep getting better and try to finish it off.
Do you guys, just continuing kind of on Harden, do you think this was his signature playoff win of his career? High score. I think it was his highest scoring output ever in a playoff game.
I think it's tied, right? 45.
45.
Yeah, I signature, not sure. I mean, he's had some awesome games. It's obviously his signature Sixer moment.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's one of his top moments in the playoffs. Because of the dynamics that was involved with it. Not just the points he scored, but starting the game off hot and then continuing to attack, making the big shot, making the plays. In the end, there's one thing to score 45, it's another thing to score 45 and really hit the game winner. Yeah. On top of that.
Yep.
From three while you were down. So yeah, it could be, said that this could be his signature moment, but I think it's sort of his. But I do feel that James still going to always be in that moment in the playoffs because of his history of. We know what you've done, we know who you are, but it's always going to be, what have you done for me lately? I still firmly believe that that's how he's going to be viewed, unfortunately. But he's on a good track right now.
Teja, I know you were telling me last night that you think this is his signature playoff game. What are your thoughts after almost 24 hours?
Letting it settle in, yeah. So coming off the game, yes, I want to dig further into Harden stats in playoffs. So I did a little digging. So his next best game happened for us, at least for the Sixers. Miami last year, he had a 31-9-7 game. We won. He had a similar game in Brooklyn where he had 41-10-7, but they lost. That same series had a 23-18-5 game, followed by a 34-10-10, both great games. In Houston, he had a lot of crazy stats, but lost a lot of them. That's the thing. So he had in 2020, he had a 37-11-9 versus OKC in the first round. 2019, he had a 41-6-9 game versus Golden State, followed by a 38-4-10 game. But in both of those games, his shooting wasn't as great, especially from three. 2018, he had a 41-8-7 versus Utah, 44-8 versus Minnesota. But again, we also got to look at who they play, right? And expectations. He should be both those teams. OKC was a first-round matchup for them. They almost lost. They went to 7 that series, by the way, which is pretty crazy. 2015 versus Golden State, he had a 45-9-7. That would, I think, rival, and that was their only win of that series, which is a great win, signature win. They got beat up the rest of it. And then 42-9-5 versus Dallas in that first round. So overall, I did an overall scope. James' record when he scores 38 or more is 7-6 in the playoffs. It's 6-4 when he scores 40 or more. And 6 of those, he had at least 10 free throw attempts. I think only last night he had like 6.
I mean, I think 4.
Yeah, he didn't shoot a lot of free throws, which makes it
a lot of free throws in at all for the team.
Yeah, well, they only had 10 fouls. So yeah, so it was one of those not typical Harden games where he scored a ton and didn't have a ton of free throws. His record is 5-5 when he shoots 27 or more times. I think he had 30 attempts yesterday, right? His record when he shoots 14 or more three-pointers is 4-5. And that was his first game since 2017 where he shot 13 or more threes and shot over 40% in that. So when he scores a lot, they don't necessarily win a lot of those games in his past. I think it was a signature game, not just because of what he did in his stats, but if you look at how it was won on his shot, the opponent, and Embiid's injury, and it was on the road in Boston against at this point, we're the inferior opponent here, right? So I just think with all of them mounted against him to do that, I really do think, and not to mention all those years in Houston where they were expecting that from him. So he was the guy that was supposed to be scoring that. They weren't expecting this from him, which is even like a cherry on top.
Yeah, and the reason why I really can't put it as a signature game because it's I would more classify it more as a signature scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
But the other games when he scored less, but he was doing so much more.
23 and 18.
Yes, man, he was just doing so much more.
Crazy.
In some of those games where I think now it was like it's necessary and it's needed for you to score for us to win. So I think it was his signature scoring game, but overall game, what he was doing in Houston and those, I just can't say it's a signature game.
Yeah.
I also think too. I think JJ Redick brought it up too, Marcus. You were going to mention this: the way he scored and how efficient he scored in all three levels too, which was amazing to see.
First time in his career, he had five shots made in the paint, 5 shots made in mid range, and then 5 threes.
Yeah, I mean I know I've said this before on the show that his not making or not taking mid range shots isn't a talent standpoint. It's just a style of play standpoint.
Yeah.
So good to see him do that.
And he was attacking that early too.
Yeah,
like he was on it early, trying to create a little shoulder.
You all know I'm a fan of that. So
yeah. And that step he had on Jaylen Brown, who's no slouch as a defender, that cross he had on him on that layup, man, that was really nice. I do 110% Bleav that he's over that Achilles problem.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. For our sake. One thing about the Celtics, though, this is interesting. So before last night's game, teams that shot 58% or more from the field with 10 or less fouls were 23-0 in the playoffs. But now 23-1, Boston.
Wow.
Crazy stat. Okay, to kind of dive in a little bit further with Harden. So obviously we talked about how Harden looked like Houston Harden, a little throwback game, or maybe not even a throwback game. Maybe it's a new type of Harden right here. Scoring 45 in the ways he did it last night. But the question is, do you think this is the Harden we're going to need even when Embiid returns from his injury?
Well, I mean, I firmly Bleav that it's the plays and the possessions and the quarters when it's needed for James. I do not think that he needs to score 45 points a game for us to win. Even if Joel doesn't play the next game, I still think we can win with him without him scoring 45 points. I do think that, Maxey can score and him being more efficient can help.
Shot right.
He does that. So I think that James will, his play will be needed. He will need to maintain his level of play that he had or maybe even increase that. But I do not think that he needs to be a 45-point scorer for us to win without Joel, and definitely not with him. I think with Joel is probably, like I said, it's the same level of play and scoring, and the playmaking may need to maybe increase, more assists and assists that we're used to seeing this season. And that's what I think will happen with Joel, because teams will play different. They still going to double him, and without Joel, James may start getting some double teams, and that's where the playmaking will have to come into play.
I'm surprised they didn't do that yesterday. Yeah. They hardly tried it in the second.
They were winning a good majority of the games, so he really didn't have to pull. I mean, they we won that game, but they helped us in the end. So.
Yeah. Maybe not full throttle Houston Harden, but maybe somewhere in the middle between Houston and Philly. So like Nashville Harden. Maybe Nashville Harden, he shoots maybe 20 shots not 30. 30 is a little too high, I think, especially when you're adding Embiid shots and then adding the playmaking. So adding some assists. But I also don't think we can go right back to, okay, let's just say I don't know when he's going to come back. I don't want to speculate at this point. I think we're going to talk about that a little later anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think even when he does come back to go full throttle, run everything through Embiid again. I don't know if that should happen. I guess only they know how much he can handle and how healthy he is. He might be on a minutes restriction. Who knows what happens when he comes back?
I mean, and that's why I think James has to maintain his level of play and let the game dictate sort of when he can take over.
Yeah.
When he has to take over. But to just come out and say, well, Joel, come back, you got to beat this 40. It's just not going to happen like that. You're going to play the way you play. If Joel's going to play, they're going to play through him. That's what they're going to do. You have to play through him and see if he's still the 33-point scorer that he was during the season. So you're going to do that. If then you've seen where that's not working or he's not healthy enough, then you make your proper adjustments. But you're going to go through him if he's playing.
You don't think it's like an NFL receiver, injured receiver type move where you put him out there as like a decoy or anything?
I mean, the difference is you put him out there as a decoy, it's going to be found out soon.
Yeah. They'll find out in the first quarter.
Yeah, you're going to find out like, they're not going to him.
Yeah.
Or we can challenge, we can attack him on the defensive end. Like, you're going to know real soon. You double him, and then if he's, if he's struggling to get up and down the court or get out, like you're going to know. So the team is going to try to figure it out early. What can we get? What do we have here with Joel? Do we have is it the 70% Joel's, 90%, 50%? So you got to figure that out so you can also plan and move forward.
But the more you go to him, just playing advocate here, the more you go to him early, the more the opponent finds out his limitations too, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say go to him, is go through him. You put him in positions to do what he does best on his best shots, his best opportunities to be effective.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily doing anything different. That's what you would always do. You put him in position to be his best. But you would have to figure that out. I would say if he's going to play, they're going to him first play. You see where he's at, and to let the other team know he's here. And you see what they're going to do. If they're going to show their cards, or are they going to double him? Oh, they're not going to double him. Okay, let's get him a little closer to the basket. They're not going to double. Then okay, they double close the basket. Now you kind of putting it out there because we've played a game and we don't know what their game plan is for Joel. So as soon as he comes, you have to figure that out because that may bring upon changes that you need to make throughout the time of the game. So the better you can make your adjustments and figure it out is just as helpful.
Yeah, I mean they'll know they'll know how healthy he is before we do. So we'll find out a little later. So I guess they'll make their game plan adjustments based on that. At least the pick and roll pop from the mid range will be there.
Yeah,
seems like the only thing he's doing right now in pregame is doing that. So
there's a reason why.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So with that, so I was watching ESPN earlier. Tim Legler said there's no reason for Embiid to play a game 2. He said winning last night is a good reason to not play him in game 2 and just let him get a couple more days rest to go play in game 3. So my question to you guys, since we stole a game at Boston, would you play him for game 2 or would you rest him for game 2?
I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play him. And the reason why I say that is because, to me, this appears to be an injury that's not going to go away right now. It's not like you kind of, turned your ankle or something and you
deal with the type injury.
You got a healing that that's like it's 2 weeks and it's healed. It seems to be a prolonging injury, a tolerance injury, meaning like what can he tolerate? Not a injury that, hey, he's good to go. It happened. Now he's good to go. And we're moving forward. That injury's over with. It's a tolerance injury. He may be able to play, but how much can he tolerate? If that's the case, then no. He play. You give him more days off. If he's able to play and it's not going to hinder him going forward, they just gave him that one game off, then yeah, you let him play to kind of figure it all out in this game 2, instead of trying to figure it all out in game 3. But I tend to lean towards this is a tolerance injury that's not going anywhere. So if that's the case, sit him out. But, he may say, I want to play, and then nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Do you think if this is not an injury that can get much worse and it's just tolerance, then is there a big difference in waiting 2 more days? Do you think, how much can heal in 2 days?
Well, if it's swelling, it will matter.
Yeah.
If it's some, in some form of swelling, a couple of days wouldn't matter, because then you have not necessarily a couple of days, but it's the consistency of consecutive days that helps. Versus getting to a point, contact, pounding, and moving on from there. So now you may not digress, but you don't get better either. So I do think that if it's that, getting worse doesn't necessarily mean you may not make it worse, but you also don't help it get better. And that's what I said. Like it's just so many unknowns. Is this an injury can get worse? Is this an injury that it is what it is and it's not going to get any better? You just got to play through it. That's what I'm saying. Is it a tolerance? I mean, we're giving our opinion, but we're giving our opinion based on not knowing the facts too.
Yeah, we don't know much.
So
I think he's out for game 2. I wouldn't even say he's a guarantee for game 3. I mean, I heard Skip say on his show, I don't know much, I don't believe everything he says, but he said 20 to 30% is what he heard right now in his knee. Like
20% playing or 20 to 30% healthy?
Healthy.
Wow.
But Skip,
he also said
20 to 30%?
I think that's what, because it was on, the camera was on Shannon, so you couldn't really fully hear him in the background. It sounded like he said he's heard 20 to 30%.
But he also said
30%. He's not playing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said there's a tear.
No, 20 to 30%. Say it again.
He also said in that, I think in the same segment, he said that he has a minor tear, is what somebody in the Sixers organization is telling him. There's a minor tear in his knee. That's what he said. 20 to
30% he's not playing. It's. I'm hoping it's not that, but he's. There's no way. It's too unstable.
Yeah.
And when you watch him shoot around, it's not encouraging. Like, he doesn't want to move. You can tell he's not like
he's just shooting jump shots. And he's not even really jumping.
Yeah, he just looks very ginger. I hope it's not true what they said. It doesn't look good though. I think I could see him if he did try to come back for game 2. I would say almost a guarantee he wouldn't play game 3. He'd probably get such swelling from that game. It would just.
Yes, that's why.
So don't even if you rush him, he's not, unless they think, hey, every time we're up 1, play him. So, up 1, let's go up 2. They'll win game 3. We'll be up 2-1. Play him in game 4. We'll go up 3-1. Let Boston play without him. Go up 3-2. Come back for game. So only play him when we're only have a 1-game buffer. I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
The one thing that game 1 did was they gave us the ability to win home games to move on.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
Boston's had really good success at Philly, though. That's the problem. That's the scary.
We hadn't had much success in Boston.
We hadn't.
So,
yeah, I know, it's crazy.
You never know. So all I'm saying is, if he's able to play, I believe that our chances increase. And I believe our chances increase at home also.
Yep.
But if he's going to miss a game, the rest of this series, I'd rather it be game 2 than any other game. And
we're not supposed to win that game anyway, right? Like, so it's game 2.
And it's also a game that the guys that won the game 1 will have the one game this series that they can play free.
Yeah.
And we've seen that that's a dangerous team when they're allowed to play free.
Yep.
Yeah. That's how it felt in game, actually. I got the sense like
it's
when it got too close, we're like, we're not even this close right now.
So you can, if we get that, if that team and Joel doesn't play and we get into the second half, we in that third quarter, we go into the fourth quarter and it's a close game.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's trouble for Boston. Big time. They're going to try to come out and lay it on us hard to undo that game.
I just want us to keep it close. Get it to the fourth quarter. Keep it close.
Do you think either way he'll be on a minutes restriction, or when he comes back, he's back?
Now, I guess they can do the minute restriction. I guess he doesn't come back if it's a minute restriction.
So you think when he comes back, he's coming back 38 minutes?
I think they may limit him and be cautious of the minutes that he plays, or maybe the consecutive minutes that he played. But I just can't. If they're saying, "Hey, you come back, you can only play 25 minutes," then that's telling me he's not
right.
Yes,
I think we know he's not going to be right. Probably right. I mean,
put the limited minute and I don't know how you do that. I mean, you can. You play, you sit, you play, you sit. Like, I don't help it.
Would you rather have Joel on a minutes restriction for game 2 and then a little higher for game 3, or would you rather have no game 2 and then full throttle game 3?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm not against a minute restriction in game 2 if it's not going to hinder him in game 3.
Yeah, I think either way he'll have massive swelling no matter what. He's not even running on the court.
That's what I'm saying. If it's going to hinder it, if you're sitting up here and you're saying that he has the swelling and is going down, and it's hard. Like I said, I keep saying it's hard, but it is hard because we don't know if it's the swelling that's causing the issue or the stability that's causing the issue.
Yeah.
So we don't know. So if it's the swelling, go sit down because that's not going to get better by playing. If it's the stability and that's not going to change, it may be okay to get some minutes to know what you're dealing with.
Yes.
To know how to kind of like get your body back playing, and so then in game 3 you can be a better prepared for it.
And to know what his limitations are.
Yes,
right?
it kind of, that's what I'm saying. Like it's just hard guessing what it is.
I actually have one more question for that. Do you think we were missing him more on offense or defense yesterday?
Early defense.
Yeah.
Well, attacking our basket. Man, for a minute there, I was like, man, we don't have a chance.
Until they just stopped.
To get to the rim and scoring. It was like, man.
Second half, they wanted to become a three-point shooting team. They were done doing that.
Oh, we did a better job of staying in front of guys, too, now. But
yeah,
first
they
half.
settled a lot more in the second half, though. I don't know why.
First half, it was just like lobs and layups and whatever you want, whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
So I was highly concerned with that. I'm like, man, and that actually, like during the time of the game, I'm thinking like, would they even be attacking the rim like that if Joel was playing like that? I was actually thinking that, not necessarily making it, but would they actually even try to do it if he was playing?
It was easy, man.
Yeah, I mean, with the way James
started, like Frogger. Remember the old game Frogger?
The way James started out offensively, and I thought, man, we shot a very good percentage. We were handling our business offensively. We couldn't get any stops, but they couldn't get any stops either.
Jaylen Brown had 7 shot attempts in the first quarter, only had 3 for the rest of the game. He was 6 of 7 in the first quarter, and then he had 3 shot attempts the rest of the game.
3 total shots?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
See, it was a very weird game because we went over all the game logs versus them this year, and a lot of their role players did really well, not so much the top-heavy guys consistently. In the first quarter, it was the exact opposite. It was all top-heavy players. Tatum and Brown just lit us up in the first half. And then the second half, it became a lot more like the other games in the past.
But if you look, I thought the game slowed down because if you looked at the pace of the game and the pace of the scoring versus the second half, I thought it slowed down some.
Mm-hmm.
We did give them a little matchup zone a little bit that kind of took them off guard a little bit and showed Tatum and Brown crowds, and they were deferring. I do think that those two were deferring. If they see the crowd, they were moving that ball and wasn't trying to play through it. And I think a couple times, like with Brown, he tried to play through a couple times, and he had those back-to-back turnovers that were huge. I don't know if that was third or fourth quarter, but he like back-to-back. And obviously, at the end when Maxey got the steal, I mean, Maxey wasn't even in good defensive position. Got to steal in the bucket. I mean, that's why nobody was there because he was behind the defense, he was behind the offense. So that's why I say I do think that Boston kind of, has some things that they wouldn't do on a normal basis. They kind of helped. I don't know why Marcus switched with James up top. I thought he could have just got through. James wasn't going to take the shot that early. Why not fight through it? You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't going to take the shot that early.
Yeah.
So I think they just conceded but that's what a lot of teams do now. I don't really understand. They just switch, get a team.
That's what Barkley was making fun of that after the game. Saying,
I mean, but yeah, just if you don't want Al in it, then send somebody up there else instead of Al to switch it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they value Al guarding him. Obviously that's what the coach said, but
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, let's let Al guard James for the game winner. But
some of the stat disparities are crazy in this game. Like they out-rebounded us by 10. They had double the amount of turnovers as we did, but they had more points off turnovers. They had 24 more points in the paint, and we had double their fouls. It's just like it's just so many like domination in one stat or another. It was really a crazy game. It really was. And that is, I think, maybe the worst they shot against us in 3 all season. Yeah. They have been lighting it up against us all year at 3. So, man,
but their overall field goal percentage was great. I mean, just because of the points in the paint, though.
Yeah, they had 66 points in the paint. 66.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And they had double. We had double the amount of fouls, but they only made 5 more free throws than we did.
Yeah.
So we didn't miss 12 free throws. I think that's what James Harden per a game attempt is, just 12 a game in the playoffs.
That would be different with Joel.
Yeah, I would hope so. But dude, Maxey 5 fouls. I want to look up and see when's the last. I mean, how many games did Maxey have 5 fouls like entering the fourth quarter?
And he almost fouled out on that. Luckily, they reviewed it and said it was Smart was still moving on that charge blocking foul.
What was this we talked about? We had 4 players with 4 or more fouls. They had 1 player with 3 only.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think, let's say, obviously we're going to get into predictions in the next segment, but if we were to win tomorrow, game 2, could you someone argue the point saying, hey, like we're up 2-0, we stole both games in Boston. Let's ride it out and let maybe Joel sit game 3. And if we lose that, then we bring him out game 4.
Only if the injury says so.
Okay.
Not just from because we won standpoint. You know what I'm saying? If they're saying more time off helps him and helps his recovery, yes. But if they're saying, no, you're going to feel the same way in game 4 that you feel in 3, no, you play in 3.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
You said if we win game 2, will we rest in game 3?
That was my question, yeah.
Yeah. Man, just for the hell of it, just because we won game 2. I mean, we do have the buffer, but I just don't think how like 2 more days is really going to – I don't know. I mean, there's so much mystery around this injury.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it helps, the injury helps, then if you're saying it's going to be better for, the next round and the round after, yes. But if you're just basically saying, no, it's not really going to do much, then play.
What about for game plan, like, type outlook? Because if we do beat them, let's say we beat them more handle, let's say we beat them like 5 or 10, right? Let's just being optimistic. What's to say, like, they're having a hard time beating our Joel-less team. Why would we rush back someone if A, they're not healthy all the way, and B, they can't beat our current team as is, and we're going back to Philly? You think they would just be like, let's just ride this out? Almost like a when a bench lineup does really well and they keep their starters out longer because they're playing so well? Is it like maybe one of those type situations?
I'll give you 3 letters. MVP.
I knew that was coming.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot bigger than you think. If a guy's saying that he can play, you like, we're not gonna play him. What? Oh, it's like that?
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
I'm sure Joel could say he could play right now, though. I'm sure he'd love to.
I think he would have played if he could play.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
I don't think he sits out just because it's nagging. I think he sits out because he can't play.
Yeah.
Which tells me it's worse than they said. Because it isn't like Boston and they just played a game on Thursday. Heck, I don't even remember the last time he played. It's been, 2 weeks? Has it been like 10 days?
Game 3 of Brooklyn. So I have it up right here, actually.
That was Thursday of 2 weeks ago.
So it'll be 2 weeks. So it's 12 days.
Would have been Thursday. It was the 20th.
Yes.
Right? The 20th of April?
And today's May 2nd.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And you don't play. That's telling me enough.
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks. It'll be almost 2 weeks as of tomorrow when they play. It'll be over 2 weeks by a Friday. So, yeah.
Well, with the pregame,
You're telling me in 2 weeks that you can't play, like that's.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to come out and tell me that. That tells me enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
well, they say grade 2 is a 4 to 6 week recovery. So he's halfway to the beginning stages of that.
Yeah.
That's recovery. We don't know, because recovery could be recovery to start doing stuff on the court versus recovery to play. Different things.
Yeah.
We don't know what that recovery would mean.
Yeah.
I think Allie LaForce's pregame report, she was talking about how he's still getting fitted for certain braces. So I guess he's looking for a brace that's comfortable to play with, I guess.
Tells me it's stability.
Mm.
You're wearing a brace. Stability and strength more than swelling.
He was jumping around pretty good celebrating yesterday. I'll tell you that much.
I was going to say, yeah. A lot of getting up and down to celebrate.
Needs to be like a
Playing
hyperbaric
basketball. That's not playing basketball and cutting, and it's not the same. But
No.
It's not the same.
He needs to be in a hyperbaric chamber somewhere. Eric. Watch that in like a little dark chamber with a little TV in there.
Yeah, I get it.
All right, so we're going to get into our predictions here. So opening line for the game tomorrow night, May 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TNT. Sixers opened up as a 9-point underdog. I just checked a little while ago. We are now a 10-point underdog, so it's gone up 1 point. So 2 questions here. Do you guys think Embiid plays, and who do you have winning this game? So I'll give you one with Embiid, without Embiid.
I do not think Joel plays. I think Boston pulls it out whether he does or not. But I do think we cover. I think it's a close game. Close outcome, I might say, because, I think that it's a close game. They pull away in the end, and we kind of make it closer when they sub, or they're winning by a good amount, and then we make it closer in the end to cover.
Very similar to that. I don't think he plays. I think we lose game 2. I think we cover, though, because I like that opened up as 9. That tells me they want people to jump on Boston while it's in single digits. And look, people smashed it, went right back out to double digits, right? Whereas if they took the double digit, you're thinking, oh, man, like, why not take the team that just won, same exact team, double digits? It's a lot to give up, right? It's kind of like that $9.99 type look on a sale. I think we cover. I don't think he plays.
Yeah,
I know. Well, hey, we were wrong game 1, so let's keep going.
Yeah, because both you guys had game 2 winning, us winning game 2.
Yes.
So
I said we win in 6.
Yeah. Hey, there's still a chance of a sweep and still a chance of a gentleman's sweep. So we still,
One last quick question, because this got a lot of attention too. Which performance was more impressive, Curry's versus the Kings or Harden's last night?
You go with game 7. Game 7s. That's what to me that was the difference. It was the last game, and your game 7, and it's the team that just beat them by 20 at home. You know how good they are at home. I thought both players. I think it would have been hard to win if both guys didn't do what they did. But I would lean towards game 7 getting it, even though James also played without Joel. So it's tough. I think it's close, but being the game 7 kind of gives you the upper.
Yeah, it's tough to argue.
Choose. Yeah.
It's tough to argue that.
Just saying, if James' game, just think if that was game 7 against Boston on the road, you like, man.
That would be a no-brainer.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the best playoff game of his career.
That's the difference. Then the whole signature game, yes, it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But the dynamics of when you're playing and what's at stake does matter.
Yeah. I still do think there's a lot to be said for the not having Embiid factor of it.
Yeah, that's why I say I think it's close, but I would give the nod to the game 7.
Because Curry would be for that, like Embiid would be playing without like Wiggins and Klay Thompson.
Tough to compare.
It's tough to compare. Those guys do a lot,
Well, it's true. We would say no to a Klay Thompson Wiggins for Embiid trade, though. Let's get that.
But this.
Embiid is the Curry.
Say 2 guys. Yeah, Joel is the Curry of the team. So it would be like Klay Thompson doing it without Curry.
Yeah, no, I was trying to. I couldn't. Yeah, there's no one else to compare to Embiid. I had to find a comp somehow. So 2 for 1.
Got it.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav the 76ers podcast. We'll see you guys Friday as we preview game 3 of the series and also talk about game 2 and also congratulate Joel Embiid because he'll probably be named MVP tonight and we can be able to talk about that on Friday. Hopefully he doesn't get caught by somebody else.
Take it easy.
All right, guys.
That's fine.